is going on, everybody? Welcome in to the North End Podcast, episode 265. My name is Zach Graham, your host here in the North End, joined, as always, by my good buddy. He's on record as my best friend. His name is Ian Michaud, and we call him E. Sitting here on a Thursday. Beautiful Austin, Texas, headed into yet another decision day match with nothing at stake for Austin FC outside of, pride, bragging rights, all of those things. You almost made me start laughing, put a big smile on my face, holding up that medallion there in the intro. Guess it wasn't stuck at my place. How you feeling, my friend?
I'm good, man. Obviously rolling into this decision day here, like you said, nothing on the line, but once again, facing a team I really don't like in the San Jose Earthquakes. You know, they're not up there with some of our top rivals, obviously the FC Dallases of the world, the non-playoff qualifying Houston Dynamos of the world. But San Jose is in that second tier for me, of teams that I really dislike that, I feel like we have a rivalry against, and I definitely want to beat this team, but not at the cost of any of our good players. So our key players, I should say there.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited for this weekend. I'm super excited to see how this table falls, see who we're going to get in this first round in the 3 versus 6 seed matchup, and then move on to the playoffs, man, experience some fucking MLS playoff soccer, which I'm just amped up for. So ready to roll.
Yeah, man, I think, you bring up the feeling like this team is a rival. I think outside of the geographical factors that, have built up the rivalries with the Orange team and with Frisco, San Jose has been one that has sprouted up pretty organically, right? From the first season, we had guys rolling onto the pitch pretending to be injured and Julio pushing them off the field and then they're rolling back on. So that just kind of started what has now snowballed into, right, something where Christian Espinoza, his leg fell off. I don't know if you saw on the socials that they will be giving away Christian Espinoza action figures that actually have one bionic leg. So I guess that is the explanation for how he got back onto the field so quickly for their next game after that injury. But obviously also the chance to sweep San Jose, something we've never done, right? I think technically, right, that Open Cup match counts as a draw, and then we won in PKs. But to be able to win both games in the regular season and advance past the Quakes in the quarterfinals, I mean, that would be one of the biggest slam dunks we have ever had against a team that is not one of our Texas rivals.
Absolutely. And with the lineup, I think that both of us are anticipating, it would be even more awesome to have our young bucks go out there and get the job done. And like, this has been a really fun rivalry matchup between us and San Jose here. You've seen some really high scoring games throughout the course of this series and everything. Obviously, we have the 4-3 miracle game last season, which was absolutely stunning and incredible. So like, it's just been really fun, and it's ended in 7 draws, to your point about the US Open Cup. So it's been, well fought, well matched and everything like that. So it's fun. And they got some guys in the team that I haven't liked for a long time, no matter where the fuck they were. So, and I do like me some Bruce Arena. That's for sure. I do like Bruce for sure. But I want to beat these guys, but again, not at the expense of some key players, because we know that this is the worst pitch in the league. By far. This might be the worst pitch in fucking America. So like, if your head coach is saying we would rather play away games than play on our own home field, that is the most telling thing I've ever heard about a field. Maybe that Pittsburgh Steelers field could be worse, though. I don't know.
Fuck you, man. I was about to say it. Don't pay attention to the multiple Steelers logos behind me if you're watching on the YouTube. We don't need to address that. I was just maybe going to ignore the pitch conditions altogether because I don't have a leg to stand on this week in terms of my fandom. We'll get into that match, preview it from both sides. A couple pieces of news to touch on as well. We'll clean it up with the nonsense at the end of the episode before we get into the rest of episode 265 here on your Thursday. Just want to remind you all listening or watching on the YouTube channel that you can support the show financially by downloading the audio versions of our episodes wherever you get your podcasts. You can toggle on auto downloads. That'll support the show going forward, and you won't have to think about it again. You can go the extra mile, rate and review the show wherever you get your podcast. If you are watching on the YouTube channel, press pause on the YouTube, go to your podcast app, download the audio version, then come back and give us the view on the YouTube. You can hit the subscribe button. That does help us grow the channel here. You can also hit the notification bell to know when a live stream pops up or a new episode goes live. And of course, here on episode 265, hit the thumbs up, like the video, help us battle the YouTube algorithm overlords, atone for your sins, wash yourselves clean in the waters of the North End, and you may be blessed with the first round opponent of your choice. We'll see how that works. Never bad to test out the Wuju here in the North End. And it's never bad to close out your regular season with Los Verdes. We talked about it on Monday's episode, but just want to remind everybody, the last road regular season match of the season means that Los Verdes is throwing down here on decision day. We're going back to Hop Squad there, right by Q2. For those that are uninitiated, that's 2307 Kramer Lane here in Austin. This is an 8 p.m. kickoff out there in San Jose, or 8 p.m. Central, rather, with the game kicking off in San Jose. The watch party at Hop Squad will start at 6:30 p.m. Central here on Saturday, right? Hop Squad, family-friendly, dog-friendly, free parking out front and in the lot next door. Hop Squad will have 2 indoor screens showing the match. I don't know if anybody else is going to bring other screens to watch some of these other games to scoreboard watch during the Austin match. We'll see about that. LV is going to have some of their merch for sale there at a table. Vibe ATX will also be there, which we know the Pirates are involved in with Brian's lovely wife, Rose. So definitely check out the Vibe table there at Hop Squad this Saturday. And La Murga de Austin will be back out there at the party, blasting all of your favorite tunes that you hear at the Q every Saturday. Kramer's Cocktail Bar will be open. Yucatan Tacos and More. That's the food truck we've got out there at Hop Squad right now. That will be available here during the party. And shout out to Hop Squad, man. $5 beers during this Los Verdes watch party. So you go out to Hop Squad on Saturday starting at 6:30, kickoff of the match at 8, and you close out the regular season in style with Los Verdes.
Got everything going on there. That's fantastic, man. What is the Vibe thing? If you want to know, I got to ask the Pirates, or they got to ask, someone's got to ask the Pirates.
I think I would reach out to the Pirates, right? You can find the North End Pirates on all of your social media platforms there. I think probably Instagram, maybe the one where I see Brian and Mike most active there, but I know, right, that they have more information about that. So definitely reach out to them. Or again, if you're going out to the watch party, you can just go check it out when you get over to Hop Squad. Anything else for you on this, E? I mean, I think we're both excited for this one.
Yeah, that sounds really awesome. Maybe you should talk to the North End Grinch.
Oh, wait, who's the North? Oh, shit.
You remember that?
I forgot about that.
We got to find out who that is.
I don't know, man. Mascot Wars.
That is a good budding rivalry right there. Talking about rivalries this week, the North End Grinch. Well, I don't know if he's localized to the North End.
We can't dub him North End Grinch yet. I mean, you have to be a resident.
Yeah, for sure. So, like, if we can get a cage match between the Pirates, Verdissimo, and the Grinch, that's the only thing that could elevate this party a little bit more here.
Well, shit, we know we're gonna have Alex in the North End next year, right? Lord Helmet. You throw him out there, right? Throw that helmet around.
Yeah, tag team. Let's do it.
So some news here, E. This actually was a press release from the club on Wednesday afternoon. And this is an odd feeling, I think, because since Austin FC has taken part in the Coachella Valley Invitational during the preseason, each of the last 2 preseasons, we have gotten the news that this would happen when Austin FC's season was done with, right? And so to get this news felt a little bit off to me. Austin FC will take part in the Coachella Valley Invitational, or the 2026 version, right? That will be this coming February. The CVI takes place from the 7th through the 21st of February next year, but from reading materials from the tournament, it looks like 7th through 14th will be the MLS side of that invitational, because there are NWSL teams that go out there and play exhibition contests as well. So Austin's preseason match dates out there at Coachella are yet to be confirmed, but the other teams that will be competing at the CVI this coming February include Charlotte FC, Chicago Fire, LAFC, Minnesota United, NYCFC, Portland Timbers, San Diego FC, San Jose Earthquakes, Sporting KC, and St. Louis City SC. So 2 or 3 matches to be played out there in Cali this coming February, right? We know that you can travel out there as a fan, get tickets to this tournament, and go check these matches out if you so choose. But just something we wanted to put on the radar. And again, this highlights just how short the offseason is, where we're already getting our preseason news in here before decision day.
I mean, the way this is going to go, we win the MLS Cup in December, and then you're going to have about 2 months off before you have to go to the CVI here. God, that looks beautiful, though.
I know. I would love to go out there.
Yeah.
And maybe it lines up right. It would have to be like an NBA All-Star break type of thing for me to get away for that. But we'll see when the time comes. And again, man, when you make that run to MLS Cup and you lift that trophy in December, it's really 4 weeks until you report back for training camp at St. David. So again, we will, of course, be talking about throughout the offseason any and all of the news when it comes to the offseason dates, free agency, the draft, right? Players reporting back in January. And of course, you will know when that preseason schedule is made official. Let's talk about some of the news player-wise here, and 2 pieces of news that are more just like personal events, and one not even soccer related, but did want to give a congratulations to Nico Dubersarski, who did get married here this week. And I believe this was Guilherme Biru's wife who posted this Instagram story of the lovely couple there. My first thought, the way my brain works, was maybe you need a green card to get married. I don't know that. So going to look up laws around that, because maybe this is good for the roster. Turns out you don't. But congrats to Nico either way. Congrats to him and just the happy couple overall there. And glad he looks like he has multiple friends and family there in attendance.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Congrats either way, bud.
Yeah. Look, man, come on. You get an international roster spot here mid-October.
Oh, man, we got to blur this Instagram name out so Mitchie doesn't see that.
Yeah. Well, let's move on. This one more completely soccer related here. Congrats, right, to our academy goalkeeper, Nico Aristizabal, getting a call-up late on before Puerto Rico's friendly against Argentina this week. So I assume there was like an injury thing that happened there, or a goalkeeper got called back to his club, or decided to go back to his club rather. No matter what happened, man, this is super cool for Nico. So just wanted to say congrats to the kid. You see the picture he posted with Dibu Martinez there after the match. Even just going out there, right, putting on your country's kit, getting out there for warm-up, sitting on the bench as the backup keeper, 17 years old, or maybe 16, I think, because I think Nico's a U17 player. Either way, man, this is super cool. And if you're thinking down the road, right, this is another homegrown keeper that we have in the pipeline behind Stuver, Cleveland, and Lass. So Nico is certainly one to keep an eye on. And congrats to him on his first call up there for the friendly against Argentina, no less.
Yeah, dude. That must be absolutely incredible. This picture is fantastic as well. So huge congrats to that. That is an awesome accomplishment, no matter how it happened.
Yeah. So you see a couple of the pictures that Nico posted there. And speaking of international results, right, we are now coming out of the October international window. So quick recap on our boys that were abroad. Mirtu Azuni, I believe, was the only first-team player that saw in-game action during this international window. Azuni started and played 93 minutes against Serbia in a 1-0 win, which was huge. Mirtu, dude, in this one, no shots, did start at the nominal left wing, but he was all over the place on both sides of the ball. 5 defensive recoveries, also won 5 duels. Like, this is a guy who, you see that work rate, the work ethic here in Austin. It was on display in this match for his country. And this win, man, puts Albania in the driver's seat for the playoff berth in Group K of the UEFA World Cup qualifying groups, right? So first place in a group qualifies, second place will go to a playoff round Albania controls their own destiny after this win. Mirtu was also an unused sub in that Tuesday friendly against Jordan. That was a 4-2 win for the Albanians. And that was a FOTMOB mistake when I said it was 5 a.m. It was noon Central for the kickoff. Still didn't watch it. Sorry, Mirtu. But, man, that win against Serbia, huge for Mirtu and for his country.
Yeah, and I hope that was good for the mentals, man, because we were talking about, him getting over there, getting a little reprieve and everything, and hopefully having a good go of it. And it sounds like it was. And as long as he's coming back healthy, ready to go here for this playoff situation that we're going to find ourselves in, I'm happy for him. So congrats.
Alexander Svatok, of course, was with Ukraine. Svatok was an unused substitute in both of the Ukrainian World Cup qualifiers this window. But it was 2 dubs, a 5-3 win over Iceland, shootout there, and then a 2-1 win over Azerbaijan. And that also puts Ukraine in the driver's seat for the playoff berth in Group D. France, that first place team, that is the team next up on the qualifying schedule, though. So if you're going to challenge for that top spot, it would be a victory over France and then some help, I believe, which probably will not come from the other 2 teams in that group. And for what it's worth, that Albanian group, the first place team, England, similar scenario there. So again, if we're looking at these playoff qualifications for these 2 countries and our 2 guys, I think we'd take that, given the competition in those groups.
Absolutely. Happy for Svatok and his countrymen over there. That's awesome.
Julio, once again, unused sub in both of the Costa Rican qualifying matches here this window. The first was a 0-0 draw against Honduras. Not great there because Honduras is the team that Los Ticos are currently chasing in CONCACAF Group C. They also get a 4-1 win over Nicaragua earlier this week, which, you've heard this before, Costa Rica in the driver's seat for the playoff berth in Group C. And that could come down between first and qualifying or having to go through that playoff process. That could come down to the home match against Honduras on November 18th. Honduras in first in that group right now, CONCACAF Group C. So just 2 more matches left for Costa Rica in that World Cup qualifying group. So no matter if Austin is in or out in November, man, we will have eyes on these World Cup qualifiers because it's coming down to it.
Yep, absolutely. Congrats to Julio as well. That's fantastic to hear.
Well, let's move into our preview here, Decision Day, going on the road to PayPal Park out there in San Jose. It's got to be the closest MLS stadium in proximity to an airport from the views we have seen on the broadcast. You're on the preview this week at thenorthendpodcast.com, so get us started. What are we expecting from the Quakes here on Saturday night?
Well, if you've been doing your due diligence all season long, as you should have been, and listening to the previews here in the North End podcast, this is our 3rd time meeting up with the San Jose Earthquakes this season. The draw advancing on PKs in the U.S. Open Cup quarterfinals and a 3-1 victory most recently over the Quakes. They're on the outside of the playoff line right now. They're looking in, sitting at 11th place. They absolutely have to get a win in this matchup in order to even be considered to enter the playoff race, and then they need not the playoff race, the final, formation of this playoff table here, and then they need some help on top of that. So they have everything to play for. They have to get a dub here. We know who they're paced by. Their big 3, and Chicho Arango, Joseph Martinez, and Christian Espinosa. Those are their 3 guys that we're going to be keeping your eye on the most. Arango, obviously, a fantastic goal scorer. Joseph Martinez, former Golden Boot winner, I believe. And then Christian Espinosa, one of the most dangerous wings in this league, creates a ton of great chances for this team. Bruce Arena, head coach and sporting director. I wrote in the article there that he just revitalized the New England group chat that he probably had and told all of his homies, come on over here to California. Flew a bunch of them out. So they're loaded with a bunch of former New England Revolution players as well. But they got to get a win here. And this is a team that has really, really limped into the finish line. And I'm like 90% sure that I said after we beat them in the quarterfinals, I would not be surprised if they didn't win a game the rest of the season, or if they won every single game to close out this year. But of their last 5 matchups, they have 1 victory, surprisingly, over San Jose. And since Austin eliminated them in the Open Cup, they only have 3 wins. Interestingly enough, a win over Vancouver, beaten up on the terrible Dynamo, and then that victory over San Diego, as I mentioned. But they have really been struggling as of late. This is a team that gets up and down. They play the most reckless style of soccer in the entire league. And something else I said before we approached this decision day was that I wanted to be locked into place with where we were going to end up in the playoffs and not have to put anything on the line in this game, because not only have these matchups been incredibly physical, they've been chippy, but as we talked about with this pitch, it is the worst pitch in the league, I think by far, and we've seen some bad ones, that's for sure, and the pitch that we lost Brandon Vasquez to earlier in the season. So I'm super happy that we don't have to go into this game with seeding or playing for our lives in the playoffs on the line, and that you can go out there and just get some young guys some burn here, not worry about this too much, because everything that they have to play for, they have to get this win. We are locked into the 6th seed. We cannot go up. We cannot go down. And that is a fantastic thing. If you want to talk a little bit more about their roster profile and breakdown here, I'll kick it over to you.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of doubling up or piggybacking on what you were saying about their form since the Open Cup, right? And one of those losses in that stretch since then, of course, was to Austin at Q2 Stadium in late August. But, right, you mentioned the 3 wins. It's only 10 total points from their 12 league matches since that Open Cup quarterfinal match. And, like, I will give them some credit, E. Like, some of those losses are to, I think, teams you should expect them to lose to. Minnesota on the road, Seattle on the road, even Salt Lake on the road, I think, right in the elevation. San Diego, even at home, with the disparity between what those two teams have done this year. LAFC at home with Sun and Buanga. I don't think there's any shame in that. And, like, I would love to shit on them for losing 3-1 at home to St. Louis City, but we have no leg to stand on there either. So, like, I think this has been certainly disappointing for the Quakes and their fans. I don't think it's something that we should be too surprised about, because this appears to be, schedule-wise, a team that was benefiting from an easier schedule in the first half of the season. And when they hit their gauntlet, just like Austin did in May, they did not fare well. So, again, that really the lone bright spot was that 1-0 win over San Diego on the road that you mentioned from 2 weeks ago. In terms of that roster profile, right, you can see it here on the YouTube. It is a 2-4 build, because they have 3 DPs on the roster, but Hernan Lopez is on loan in South America. Still far from a complete roster, right? Plenty of TAM players using up all that TAM. But only 1 of 4 U22 slots taken here. So this is still a team that has room to grow going into next season. And as we are approaching the end of the regular season here, potentially the end of the Quakes go here in 2025, you see some very important names with contract expiration dates in 2025, right? Most of these guys have contract options, but Christian Espinoza, Noel Buck, right, their lone U22. You see a guy like Joseph Martinez expiring, Mark Anthony Kay expiring, right? And the list kind of goes on there. Out of all the guys who have more years left, Nick Lima signed on through 2026 guaranteed. So good for Nick there. But, like, again, we just saw this team less than 2 months ago. We pretty much know what they're about, what they're going to do, right? They're going to be very threatening offensively, and they are going to give it up so sweet at the back. You can see it in the stats if you don't remember the 2 times we have played them all year. 7th in goals per game in league play, 26th in goals conceded per game. They're smack in the middle in possession, 14th. That is 50.3% per game, and just 5 clean sheets on that defensive end, which, you know, not surprising when you are bottom 5 in goals conceded per game. And talking more about the player personnel, man, like, as long as they have everybody healthy, right? And I think they were missing Vitor Costa last week, and they were missing DeJuan Jones. We know DeJuan Jones is very dangerous on the wing. Costa can be dangerous going forward from his defensive position as well. But as long as you got Chicho, you got Christian Espinoza, and you got Joseph Martinez out there, this team is a threat to score 3 or 4 goals on almost anybody in MLS. And we know Christian Espinoza, right? You're looking at some of these other stats on the season for San Jose. Still first in accurate crosses, which is exactly what we said in August. That is the Espinoza effect.
Yep, absolutely. And just to highlight like how reckless they are when they play and how poor and sloppy the defense is. I think if you've watched this league for some time here, you understand that Daniel's a pretty good shot stopping goalkeeper, but still he gets put in all kinds of terrible situations. Once we played him at, back in, when was that? Was that August, right?
August 30th was the Q2 match.
I mean, they give up an own goal in that game. They also give up a goal where a defender tries to stop a ball from going out of bounds, runs over it, slips, falls, somehow keeps the ball in bounds, and leading into a breakaway for Austin. So they are a sloppy, sloppy team. But on the offensive side of the ball, they have guys who can score. They've done it for their entire careers here. And the respect that I have for Espinosa, all jokes aside, after the crash out situation, he's very, very dangerous with the ball on that right wing. He's going to put the ball into the box with some real high quality, and he's got goal scorers on the other side of that, and this is a team, right? I think when we saw in the Open Cup quarterfinal matchup with them, I don't necessarily know if they have a steady voice kind of leader out there. We've known that, Chicho Arango, for how talented he has been his entire career, he has been bounced around and passed off because teams don't want to deal with his bullshit. And that kind of comes with having a talent like that on your team, but they lack leadership. You have some of these younger guys who have emerged here. Our boy Bo LaRue, who has been fantastic this season as well for them. But again, they're a bit of a disconnected unit. And I think it's shown with their positioning right now. I'm glad you brought up the challenging nature of the latter part of their schedule, because before that, they hit that gauntlet. This was a team that was really connected with us throughout this playoff, throughout the course of this season, being right there with us on the playoff line, jockeying for position with the other Western Conference opponents that we've talked about, the mid teams that we've brought up here in the past here, and the fact that we believe that Austin is the highest quality of that portion of the Western Conference. And San Jose, man, it is just reckless abandon to get the ball up the field. They're top 3 in possession, 1 in the final third. So they're gonna press you. They want to make this game as crazy as possible. And that's how they found, relative success this season. I think they're going to have a difficult time getting into the playoffs. Given what else has to happen outside of beating an Austin FC team that I expect to be heavily rotated. And honestly, I think, expect might not even be the right word. We fucking better be heavily rotated in this game. This game means nothing for us, y'all. And I've seen some folks talk about building momentum and going into the playoffs on a high note. Fuck that. There is no reason to risk any of our key players in this game versus a San Jose Earthquakes team that fouls a lot, is on a terrible pitch. They have to win this matchup, and they're going to make this game as helter-skelter as possible. So I want to see the Young Bucks for us, man. A couple other guys, like you said, DeJuan Jones, I think hopefully he's not back, because I do think he's a talented player.
Third in assists for them, 6 assists for Jones on the season. Sorry to interrupt.
No worries. Jamar Ricketts, who I think we saw, his threatening speed really fit into the nature of how this team wants to play. He did impress me the times that we've seen him out there. Mentioned Bo LaRue already. Obviously, we know our boy Nick Lima there. I love me some Nick Lima, man. Town Lake legend.
I mean, some of those other individual stat lines, right? Unsurprising to see a guy like Chicho Arango with 20 goal contributions in his 29 appearances. It's 13 goals, 7 assists. Somewhat quietly in just 20 starts. Joseph Martinez, 13 goals to his name as well, and 2 assists. Preston Judd, 7 goals, 2 assists, right? So it's scoring is not the issue. with San Jose in terms of their placement in the table. Christian Espinoza, 4 goals, 12 assists to lead the team here in 2025. If you already said this, I apologize, right? You see the pressure they put on defensively, especially their counter press after giving up the ball, because they are third most in possession won in the final third, second best in interceptions per game this season. And you talked about, right, how physical they can be and reckless with their challenges. And I think you see that recklessness, that aggression, not only played out kind of in some of those like those stats that indicate a high pressing team, 12th in fouls, but 5th in yellow cards. And they have 4 reds on the season, right? So their foul numbers in total aren't up in the top 10 of the league, but they are getting cautioned and ejected more than the overall foul number would indicate. And again, this is a team that has everything to play for. And unless Bruce is doing a Greg Berhalter and telling them the score out there and messing with their heads, you would think that these players are just going to be head down, focused on what they have to do, and that is being in a must-win spot against a team that literally, again, has nothing but pride and bragging rights to and development if we get some young guys out there to play for.
There should be some results kind of like, not finished, but trickling in for them before this match starts, given the late nature of this game right up that on the West Coast.
But here's what MLS does on decision day, and we'll remind everybody else in addition to yourself here, E. Eastern Conference 5 p.m., Western Conference 8 p.m. We all play at the same time. Okay. So there is no, right, this team lost in the early window, so we get to rest here, we get this or that. Nope. Everybody's going at once. Of course, with 15 teams in each conference, there is always one interconference matchup here. So that is Seattle and NYCFC. And we know Seattle, one of the 2 teams alongside Austin FC in the top 11 of the West right now, that has nothing to play for in terms of a postseason berth or seeding headed into that first round. So, that game doesn't matter for the West either. So there will be, including from us, and we can talk about us here in a moment, there's going to be a lot of scoreboard watching going on.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to highlight how, crazy the games have been for Seattle, sitting on 120 combined goals, for and against.
For San Jose.
For San Jose this season, second only to Miami. Who has scored 70-something goals at this point, of the 76 goals at this point in the season. So this is the second highest total for any team in the league right now. Man. And, when you find yourself in a situation like this, right, the first thing that you have to control is getting your 3 points. And as much as they could be scoreboard watching, and we have that, iconic clip of the coach showing, showing the score and like fucking with his dudes a little bit. You got to win first. If you don't win, it can't be a draw. You have to get 3 points here to even put yourself in the conversation. So they're going to have everything to play for. They're going to be hungry. They're going to be desperate, and like I said, this is a game that they're going to make absolutely as wild as possible. That's, what we've seen from them. If you go back to the quarterfinal matchup and you look at that contest and how chippy it was and how reckless the challenges were, I think that bled over into some Austin fouls we saw in that game as well, because that's the type of play that they want to do. They're going to try to dictate the pace a lot. They're going to try to get their opponent to push up the field and try to get advanced and then try to hit them on the counter while still pressing. It's a wild, wild style of soccer to watch. But it hasn't played out this season for them. And I do think that the latter part of the season really fucking crushed this team, because you brought up the quality of the clubs that they had to face to close out this year. And yes, I would expect them to lose to those higher quality clubs. And they did not put themselves in a position earlier in the season by handling their business routinely versus some of these lesser quality teams that they matched up with. So you find yourself on the outside looking in right now, and you need a victory in this last game here. And you did get a little fortunate that you matched up with a team that's already locked into position and nowhere to go. But like I said, you're going to need some help as well. But I'm ready to talk about us if you are.
Yeah, let's talk about that team that is locked into the 6th seed. And man, you also locked in at least a 500 record here, right? 13 wins, 8 draws, 12 losses on the season. So a win or draw will keep you above that 500 mark, even though we are going to, I think, come up a little bit short in terms of that goal differential. It's going to be negative here on the season. We're both sitting here expecting at least some rotation, right? And I don't think we have enough depth to completely get all of the guys that you expect to start every playoff match out of this lineup.
Yep.
How do you think we line up here with respect to the fact that Jan Kolmanich is still apparently recovering from having a little bit of a knock, some hamstring tightness at the very least, that we know Diego Rubio is coming off a hamstring issue that kept him out last weekend in a game where there was a playoff seeding on the line, and that you have Mirtu Azuni, Alexander Svatak, and Julio Cascante coming back from various distances abroad. Is there anything about this lineup that stands out to you like this is what I absolutely want to see in terms of player personnel?
I absolutely do not want to see Dessler.
Okay.
I do not want to see Buka.
Okay.
I do not want to see Mirtu.
Okay.
I do
is
not
this
want to
at all?
to start this game. Yeah.
Sure.
And yeah, I do not want to see these guys start this matchup.
Okay.
I don't want to see Owen start. I think, he's earned that right to kind of like be chill in this game here.
Sure.
The last time we played them, you did have that pseudo kind of 5-back with Johnny G and Biru on the left.
Yeah.
I could see us going 4-back and sliding Johnny back because you did bring up the Kolmanich thing. I think he is going to be more important in a 3-game playoff series than John Gallagher is. I really do. With Biru as well, he has had a little bit of an up and down conclusion to this season. But I still would want to hold him out as if we can. You did bring up the fact that we just don't have a ton of guys that we can rotate. But yeah. I mean, I want Jana. I want a hot air. I'm calling in the hot air Obrion start. Sorry, babe. It's got to happen. I want that. I want to see a Robbie Taylor start.
Okay.
I want a Nico.
First one.
I want a Nico Dubersarski start.
Okay.
I do want to be cautious with Diego, obviously, given the advanced age and everything, him dealing with that little bit of a knock. I do want to make sure that he's 100% ready to go. God, I'm going to have like 5 starters in this.
That's what I was going to say. Like, we're running out, brother. If I could
CJ
jump
in there.
Yeah, I was going to say, this obviously not a San Diego match for him, but I imagine there's going to be some friends and family out there for CJ. Especially if he's like, I think he's probably likely to get the start here, right?
Absolutely.
Maybe you see Mirtu, dude, because again, there's not, and I think you're going to see Mirtu regardless at some point. I would prefer a CJ start and Mirtu off the bench late on because either, we're down maybe multiple goals at, with 20 minutes to go, and you give some of those, quote unquote main guys a little bit of run, go out there, get a sweat. Don't push too hard. Don't, non-contact your knee like BV did because we know about this pitch. But it just comes like we just do not have the bodies to fully punt on this game like you would see maybe an NBA team or an NFL team putting out complete second stringers there. We just don't have that luxury because like you think about fullbacks, right? I'm with you. If we can put Dessler in some bubble wrap, sure. That
he better
Johnny
not play
G.
at all. I don't want Dessler at all.
Okay.
Not even a little bit.
Okay.
Fucking start Riley Thomas.
I was about to say, are you okay starting Riley?
Start Riley Thomas. Start Thomas Riley. Get Thomas Riley and Riley Thomas out there so that we can save some bodies, man. Then at the center back position, I think I'm okay with Svatak. Didn't play over there in Ukraine, or not in Ukraine, but didn't play for Ukraine. I think you're fine doing that. And if you are down multiple goals in this game, you're going to assume, right, San Jose feeling comfortable about that lead, pulling off some of their guys as well. And then I'm totally fine with getting more of our routine kind of key player starters in there. I don't think you can start Pep, man.
So what's tough. Your midfield, dude?
I know, because I don't want to alienate
Duber, Sabo. Duber, Sabo, and then that's it.
Duber, Sabo for sure.
You benched
Bring
Owen,
up Irvin.
You benched Danny. Okay, yes, I agree.
Bring up Irvin.
But you're also gonna need some subs. And so it's gonna be some of those guys that we would rather not play just to bubble wrap them till the playoffs. We're just gonna see them out there. I think one way to help a little bit, you said maybe going back to the 4-back. I think give us the true 5-back or like 3-4-3 with center backs.
Yep. Okay.
Because there's two or BHI, whoever, right?
Yep.
And then sub one of them in. Too. Maybe BHI gets a little bit of a rest here finally. I don't know, but I think that just can help mitigate the lack of depth going forward, because we do have 4 center backs that we feel, I think, just fine about, especially in a spot like this where nothing is on the line. And that allows you to rest Mikael Dessler. That allows you to rotate in Kolmanich for a start if you can, or in lieu of Biru in the second half, right? And allows you to sit more of those midfielders, maybe play Taylor and Obi together. Well, I don't think I have a ton of confidence that we will see Obi and Taylor start together. But again, if there was ever a time to do it, it's Saturday.
Call up fucking Alice Tway. Fuck it.
Get
Irvin in there. Get these guys up here, dude. Let them go.
To be clear, I'm with you on if they're willing to call up as many guys as they can and play the young guys and really not give a shit about this game and not, the momentum, whatever, then do it. I just don't think we've never seen this club behave that way. And I know we're under a different regime now from the other decision days that we've had in the past, but I just don't have a ton of confidence we're going to get what somebody would call a full rotation. If we're talking about full rotation, are you giving Stephen Cleveland his farewell game here?
Yes.
What we think is a farewell game?
Start Stephen Cleveland. We also haven't found ourselves in this position outside of the 2022 season. Right. And I'm trying to find who we started in that game.
I know that we played Driussi because I'm still pissed that Abubakar didn't get tossed for that foul late on that I thought was a dog. So.
And we don't I want to avoid that at all costs. I don't. Right. So what if you get up on this team, right? You score a goal because you've started your guys, and now they know they're fucking looking down the barrel about to be done with this season. And one of these guys does something stupid, man. Yeah. That is not out of the realm of possible. We know they don't like us. We know this team does not like us. We know that, we joke about, the North End list about guys that we've seen in the past who we want to get touched up. We're on that list for them. I do not want to see that happen to any of our guys. There's no reason to risk it. So yes, I want to call up Alice Tway. I want to bring up Irvin. I want to call up Micah. I want to get Adrian Gonzalez in there. I want Riley Thomas to start. I want fucking CJ to start. I want an Obi start. And I liked your idea of going with the 3 center backs to preserve that. That obviously the least, threatening of an injury position back there. You're not covering nearly as much turf. You're not getting pressed. Well, you are getting pressed, I'm sorry, but you're not pressing forward as much as you would in this contest. So yes, I fucking play the kids, man. Give it to them. And to your point, saying we haven't done this before. That's we've seen some frustration from some of the fans about that. And I'm not saying that we're going to dictate the decisions that we make, because some fans are a bit frustrated about that.
right.
But if you're one of these players, you want to get up there. You want to have your shot and your go at it. So I'm all for fully punting this game. I said it on the last episode. I don't care if we lose this game by 50 fucking goals. It means nothing. It means nothing. You think momentum's really going to fucking matter? You go in and play LAFC in LA. Yeah. You're like, oh, well, we'll beat San Jose. I'm feeling way better about playing Sun now. And Buanga. So I want a full rotation as much as you can do it. And I do think you have to keep Pep completely away from the game, because he does not have a slow gear. You know what I mean? He could easily.
He said it. I think he said in an interview with the We Are Austin TV guys preseason, they were like, are you focused on tempering or kind of controlling that temper and trying to limit the yellow cards? And he was like, nah.
Yeah, no, that's not. Seen him on the ref cam last week. He goes,
just the guilty look.
2, 3, and he's like, all right. So yeah, dude, I am for a full on rotation here with this team, and however you can get that done. If like, we saw you can still call guys up, right? We saw in that last matchup, it's still possible. So fucking do it, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think we should be expecting at least one of those short-term call-ups to surface on Friday. For what it's worth, he went back, found the lineup from that 2022 Decision Day match against the Rapids.
Mm-hmm.
Not a ton of rotation there. Seba, Fagu, Alex Ring, Cascante Gabrielson pairing in the at the back. Galley, Lima, Finley, the body, Musa Jite up top.
Mm.
And it was a 93rd minute Diego Rubio goal for Colorado that ended that game in a 1-1 draw. Also, Giassi Zardes coming off the bench, banging one off the post there in the north end as well. I remember it clearly.
I can tell. I have no recollection of it. Yeah, man. There's too many fucking stupid variables that could happen here, and one of them, and you have to take it into account, is the quality or lack thereof of this pitch. Injuries, they're part of the game, part of every sport. But if you can take a little bit of that variable away from your key players, you have to do it. Fucking bring Jimmy up. Let him get one last go, man, because we know he signaled that he's not going to be back here. I take him on his word on that. Let him go out there. Let him put on the first team kit. Let him get a run.
Would you rather start him, Hader, or Robert Taylor?
Oh, God. Not Jimmy.
Says a lot.
I know. I said you got to even think about it. Fucking hell. I not Jimmy there, because again, if you are, and like, even if you're building into that fucking momentum, narrative, confidence kind of narrative, if you can get anything positive from Hot Air and Robbie in this matchup and just give them a little bit of their confidence back, I would rather
play those guys that could potentially contribute in a playoff round.
I'm not saying it's going to make a difference
Sure.
if it does come to fruition, but it's at least something that, could potentially make a difference here. I don't want to see any of our key guys. I don't. Let Stuver fucking rest too, man. For real.
Well, let's talk about some of the scoreboard watching that we will be doing, because obviously there is, like I mentioned, out of those top 11 teams, if you're watching on the YouTube, we have the table pulled up here for the Western Conference. Only 5th seed Seattle and 6th seed Austin are locked into their spots. So 1 through 4 jostling for position, 7 through 11 jostling for playoff berths, and then seeding beyond that. But let's just focus on who our potential first round opponent could be, right? And that is between 3 teams from 2 to 4. San Diego, who is on the road at Portland, LAFC on the road in the elevation against Colorado, and Minnesota on the road out there on the West Coast with us. They are taking on the Galaxy. So, I mean, focusing on the opponent for San Diego and LAFC, which is Portland and Colorado respectively, both of those teams playing to get in here. Portland playing to get in to clinch top 7 rather, and they could drop to the wild card match with a loss and a Dallas win. And then Colorado also playing to get into the wild card spots here in the Western Conference. So it's not like San Diego or LAFC are going to have opponents that lay down. They are also on the road. So like and I guess let me ask you this first, because this has been a question being bandied about in the Austin FC universe this week, and rightfully so. Of these 3 teams, who would you rather play, or rather put those 3 in order of preference of who you would play, right? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. The chips are going to fall where they may. We can't control that at all. But if you had your pick, who would you want to see in the first round between San Diego, LAFC, and Minnesota United?
It's Minnesota for me, and then San Diego, and then LAFC. And I think you and I are going to differ here between Minnesota and San Diego. We talked about some of the struggles that Minnesota had been going through after we eliminated them from Open Cup. They have bounced back a little bit after that. I just think San Diego has a bit more firepower right now, and I think you have found a way, given the way Minnesota wants to play, to neutralize that style a bit better, because we took them completely out of the game their game the last time we matched up with them. Ramsey had to, flip the script almost in the second half to try to combat what we were doing. I think you're just a little bit more equipped to go ahead and match up with that team. Also, we have now beaten them at their place. I think that is very, that boosts the confidence levels for you. And San Diego, we know obviously this is their first year. We have the the benchmark of St. Louis sun running all season, being the first seed, collapsing in the playoffs. I just think you have some guys on that team who like Chucky, man, obviously he's seen it all. He's a veteran.
Anders Dreyer would be the best player on the pitch.
Yes, absolutely. And we did have that victory versus San Diego earlier in the season at home. But it's Minnesota for me. And I think that's because we match up better with them and how how Nico, I think, prefers to play. I think that's his, you've seen it against LAFC too, a bit more defensively focused, try to maintain the talented wing players that both of those clubs have. And then obviously last is LAFC, which I do think is the most likely outcome you're going to get here. And that's because of two guys, that's two of the top five.
It's self-explanatory.
Yes, exactly.
Point, right. If you're listening this deep into the podcast, you know why LAFC is the unanimous choice for who we want to see the least. And unfortunately, the team that is most likely of those three to end up in the 3 seed. But yeah, man, it would be San Diego for me. And I'm not going to push back or disagree at all with the argument that Minnesota is the best matchup. San Diego for me would be vibes. That would mean that they do not come through when they need to here on decision day, and pushing a little bit more doubt into the minds of a team that is not coming into the postseason if that occurs. On a high note, since the end of August, San Diego 3-1 loss at home to Minnesota, 1-1 draw to lowly Atlanta United, who I think is still in the spoon race here headed into decision day. They lose to San Jose at home 1-0. And then they did beat Houston 4-2 late on in Houston 2 weeks ago. But okay, man, congrats for that. I just think that's a team that we could see completely collapse against us, especially if you go out there and you steal game 1, all the pressure on them coming to our house, rocking at the queue. I just think we could totally catch San Diego at the right time here, where they are maybe running out of a little bit of juice. Look, man, there's a full season of film on these guys now, right? Compared to where they have, run roughshod over the league over the first half of the season. It has slowed down a little bit. I'm not saying that would be easy or that we would necessarily be favored, but I just feel the vibes to me say that San Diego is ripe for an upset. So for those two teams to end up our first round opponents, I think starting with Minnesota, I think that is most people's choice when posed that question. And the math may be a little bit funky here, so don't hesitate to correct us in the comments if we need it. For Minnesota to get that 3 seed, I believe that means San Diego would win or draw against Portland. Minnesota has to win against the Galaxy, and then you would get an LAFC loss or draw against Colorado, would put Minnesota in that 3 seed. Couple other scenarios, or just a couple scenarios, I think, that put San Diego in the 3. It would require, number one, they could lose or draw against Portland, LAFC with a win against Colorado, and then a Minnesota loss or draw against the Galaxy would put San Diego in the 3. You could also get the 3 if San Diego lose against Portland, LAFC loses against Colorado, and the Loons win against the Galaxy, would jump the Loons all the way to 2 and slide San Diego down to 3. And again, there are a lot of scenarios for LAFC to get the 3 seed. If San Diego wins and LAFC wins, boom, LAFC clinches the 3 seed. If San Diego wins, LAFC loses or draws against Colorado, and you get a loss or a draw for Minnesota, LAFC stays in the 3rd position there. And of course, if they just lose straight up against Colorado, they will still stay in the 3 seed as long as Minnesota loses or draws. So those are the teams, those are the 3 games that I will be watching closely on Saturday night. And again, there's plenty more fun down there between 7 and 11 in the Western Conference, right? Yeah. Because, FC Dallas can go and pass Portland Timbers. While that wouldn't be fun for us as Austin fans, just trying to illustrate how motivated Portland is to get a result against San Diego this week. And again, like, there is so many permutations of how this Western Conference playoff race could settle. And again, I'm just very happy that we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, I'm so incredibly happy we don't have to worry about that. I've said it a few times here. But I mean, something interesting I just pulled up. Atlanta is playing DC to close this out.
Is that the spoon race, like the finale there?
Yeah, I think so. DC needs to win. If DC wins, they Atlanta's spoon. I got my lineup too.
Oh man,
I crafted it.
I did not realize that. Okay, well, so that's the game I'm going to be watching in that 5 p.m. window.
Yeah, that should be
Atlanta,
fun.
DC, the toilet bowl.
Yeah.
All right, give me the E projected lineup.
Look, I sketched it here.
Okay.
Cleveland.
So you got a 3 back, yeah.
Cleveland. Thomas, Djordjevic, Svatok, Tony Gomez, Gallagher, Nico,
Why
Sabo,
Tony?
Taylor, Fodre,
Also,
Obi.
you can't. I'm pressing the red button and. Already called up Tony 4 times. You'd have to sign him. Roster freeze is passed.
Okay. All right.
And you saved Logan Paul a heart attack. Okay, yeah. Give me a first team center back, please.
Okay, we'll go.
You already got Riley out there?
That's Svatok in there.
Yeah, but give me 3 of them. We got 4.
Okay. All right, that's my lineup.
Okay, I missed the last 5 guys, so can you please read it again just for me?
Okay, Nico and Sabo in the middle.
Okay.
Robbie, Obi on the wings, CJ up top.
Okay.
So then the back is Galley, Julio, Svatok, Djordjevic, Riley Thomas. Cleveland in the net. Torres off the bench. Jimmy off the bench.
Okay.
Burton off the bench.
Oh, my goodness.
Owen, Mirtu. If you want to get those guys in later in the game, I'm fucking okay with that. Kolmanich as well.
Okay. So 6 subs.
Well, you got choices. The guys you're going to play.
Okay.
So you fill it out with whoever you want.
You're putting the kibosh on no Book, no Dessler, no Danny, none of that.
Definitely no Dessler. Absolutely not Danny.
Okay.
Do we have any
no party?
Would this carry over yellow card stuff?
I think it clears out going into the playoffs.
Okay. Even if you get a red, would you not be suspended for?
I'm pretty sure it doesn't carry over. I can't guarantee that, but look, man, just keep your hands to yourself here. We don't need to get pulled in any bullshit with San Jose here this weekend. We have talked entirely too long about a match that does not ultimately matter for Austin FC.
I want to hear your starting lineup.
Okay, off the top, Cleveland.
Yep.
Galley on the right. 3 of the 4 center backs, don't care who. Biru on the left. Sabo, Duber. Obi and Owen. CJ up top. I'm running Owen out there. He's an Iron Man.
What if someone hurts him? And then
but that could
fly to fucking San Jose.
Look, San Jose has the mechanical leg technology. We know that from Christian Espinoza. We just, get him to the doctor there.
Okay. All right. I'm with you. Okay. You can get Owen. Do you want Buka on the field at all?
Yeah, I think I would like to get those main guys a sweat at the end. Because then if it's level at the end and you can run Mirtu Buka out there for 15, 20 minutes and go steal a win, fucking why not, man? Why not?
I told you why not. Because
but if we could predict injuries, we would always sit the guys who are in danger.
I'm not just saying injuries, but you got Vitor Costa. If he comes back, he's out there. He's fucking crazy. Takes out one of our guys.
Well,
all right.
Look, all I can guarantee this: the lineup will not be one of the 2 that we just listed off there. So we did our best, but man, if somebody can nail the 11 that we're gonna see before it's released. I don't know, man. I'll buy you a beer at the queue for the playoff match.
Oh, wow. That's binding.
One submission per person. Single entry.
Enter 1,000 times.
I don't need 987 direct messages.
Oh,
all right,
shit.
Look, man. One thing left to do.
Yeah.
How much is Austin FC upsetting San Jose by on Saturday night?
2-0 San Jose.
Yeah, I got a 2-1 loss as well. So look, man, if you can pull off a draw or even a win, we will certainly take it. No injuries, boys. So let's close out the episode with the nonsense. Again, we are headed into the final scoring. We're in the middle, rather, of the final scoring period of best ball. Getting that clean sheet for our Biru and our Stuver definitely helped over the weekend, but we'll see where everything shakes out after decision day. And recapping the picks here, from last weekend, right, was a short slate. The underdog entry does not come through. Knew that was going to crash and burn as soon as Logan Farrington kicked that guy in the dick and got sent off. So FC Dallas also does not come through, but the Austin and LAFC under was, no sweat there. Nope. And then very limited on the goal scoring picks. If Anderson Julio would have started, he did score, and it would have been a profitable week. Alas, comes off the bench, so that bet is voided. End up losing 1.35 units at the books. You lose your underdog unit. Still, headed into decision day, plus 21.18 units at underdog fantasy, plus 50.45 units at the books. And we know we have a full slate here coming up this weekend, so you can head to the northendpodcast.com on Saturday morning or catch that link on our Instagram story on Saturday morning to see what we're rolling with into decision day. And look, man, the final number is not in, but this is a more than profitable season, very successful for us, and 2 profitable seasons in a row. So virtual handshake, good job you, good job me. Good job, North End. Anything else for you, E, before we shut it down?
No, sir.
All right, everybody. We appreciate you tuning in, sticking with us here. Just about an hour on episode 265 of the North End Podcast. We are back on Sunday, recapping Austin FC's Decision Day matchup out there in San Jose, and, of course, talking about everything else that happens in the Austin FC universe between now and then, including crowning the 2025 Best Ball champion. Maybe I'm a little bit more excited to announce that on Sunday. We will see. Enjoy the rest of your week, everybody. We'll do the same. We'll see you at Hop Squad on Saturday night and back here on Sunday for another episode. Until then, he's E, and I'm Zach. Vamos Austin FC, everybody. Goodbye.